It has been a day of record-breaking temperatures across the United Kingdom, more than 40 degrees Celsius for the first time. The UK's top temperature today was in Coningsby in Lincolnshire, where it hit 40.3 degrees, according to the provisional figures. But more than 30 weather stations across England beat the previous record of 38.7 set in July 2019. And Scotland had its hottest day ever. 34.8 degrees Celsius was recorded in Charterhall in the Borders. Let's join our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt.
Well, I'm in the Botanic Garden in Cambridge, and it was a thermometer in this box behind me that recorded the previous all-time record temperature in the UK back in July 2019. Now, that has been comprehensively smashed today. It's a significant moment, but it's by no means a surprise. Climate scientists have been saying for years the UK would see new record temperatures, and the reason's very simple. The greenhouse gases created when we burn fossil fuels trap heat in the atmosphere, raising global temperatures.
With today's searing heat came fires, and lots of them. Huge plumes of smoke rose above London as grass fires engulfed homes on the outskirts of the capital. The London Fire Brigade declared a major incident.
A number of the calls that we've been dealing with today have been wildfires or grass fires in particular, where the ground has been tinderbox dry as a result of the weather that we've experienced over the last week, but in particular the last 2 days.
Temperature records were tumbling before midday today. The 39.1 degrees recorded at Charlwood near Gatwick Airport was a warning of what was to come. Within an hour, another record had been set at another airport, 40.2 degrees Celsius at Heathrow. By mid-afternoon, we got a new provisional heat record for the UK when Coningsby in Lincolnshire reached 40.3 degrees Celsius. And there was a new provisional record for Scotland too, incinerating the previous record.
We've been beating records by 1.5, 2 degrees, and really quite an extensive region of over 35 degrees. And this is really unusual. These are high temperatures over a broad area in England, so quite surprising.
Just look how today's temperatures compare to previous records. In 1976, it peaked just shy of 36 degrees. It was 27 years before that record was broken. 16 years after that, it hit 38.7 Celsius. Just 3 years later, and we've got today's new record. Who would have thought over 40 degrees in the UK? And it isn't just getting hotter. Years ago, temperatures would only reach peaks like this in the far south. But look how these high temperatures are moving north and west across the country. The heat is getting more intense and it is spreading. And, say climate scientists, we need to prepare for more record temperatures in the coming years.
The first thing organisations can do is make sure their heatwave plans are suitable, they're fit for purpose, and they're going to work when the next heat wave kicks in. And as individuals, I think we can recognise that heat waves are not fun things to enjoy. They can be really damaging and they can really affect our health.
It was certainly too hot for most tourists in Cambridge today. Those brave enough to take to the river brought their own shelter, and they needed it. The only sensible place to be was in the shade, and that says something important about our changing world.
This really ought to be a critical warning for everyone in this country, but especially our policymakers, that climate change is not something to be ignored. It's a really critical issue that we have to address as a country and as a world.
Some people did find ways to cool down. 3, 2, 1. But the message from climate scientists is clear. If we want to stop Britain and the world getting even hotter, we need to start cutting emissions, and quickly. Justin Rowlatt, BBC News, Cambridge.
Well, this is the village of Weddington in East London. Fire swept through it today, destroying these homes. Hundreds of firefighters have been tackling blazes across the country today, and major incidents have been declared in London and Hertfordshire. Our correspondent Daniel Sanford is in Weddington for us tonight. Daniel.
Yes, Sophie, the wind has changed here in Wenning tonight, and we can smell the burning in the air from the charred homes just down the road there. We saw the reality today here of living in a country where temperatures reach the high 30s and low 40s. What seems to have been a spontaneous fire, possibly in a compost heap, just ripped through this village. As weather thermometers breached the 40 degrees mark for the first time in Britain, London was burning. In Wennington, on the capital's far eastern edge, a small fire in a back garden quickly turned to an inferno that ripped through several properties, including Olafunke Akinfe's.
I was told that I needed to leave, and so I left and went to my local church because we got a community church. But after spending a few minutes in the church, then we realised that the church ground was also on fire, so we were told to evacuate the church.
At a nearby school, Tim Stock and his family were recovering from seeing their house go up in flames.
It was like a scene from the Blitz, or War of the Worlds. It was just windows popping out everywhere, explosions. It was, it was pretty frightening, really, all round, really. But I'm just pleased there was no fatalities.
As more units arrived and firefighters battled the blaze in the fields around, horses could be heard whinnying in panic. This fire and fires right across the capital have led to the London Fire Brigade declaring a major incident. Just across the Thames in Dartford, another of the fires was burning fiercely in Heathland beside the A2. The fires were burning north of the capital too, in Milton Keynes, where a fire spread to the Kiddie Carew Day Nursery, who said all the children and staff were safely evacuated, but the nursery itself and several homes were destroyed. In Norfolk, a fierce blaze was burning at Snettisham Coastal Park, home to many rare birds, and there were concerns about a nearby campsite. The heat has peaked today and it should be cooler tomorrow, but the tinder dry grassland across England and Wales will remain a problem. People are being asked to be very careful and not to use barbecues. Daniel Sandford, BBC News.